Hello friends, this is Robert West. Welcome back to the show. In this video, we're going to discuss the people Trump has fired since becoming president in his second term and the consequences of those firings, both in the long and short term. But before we start, I just want to thank all the new viewers to the YouTube channel. Really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It's free of cost, helps the channel grow a little bit, gets that information out there. We're trying to hit 2,500 subscribers by the end of September, so I do need your help. Okay, let's get into this. So most recently, Trump has fired the new head of the CDC, that's the Centers for Disease Control, one of our major health agencies in this country. And the reason, well, first, based on all the reports, she was asked to resign. Why? Well, she doesn't agree with Robert Kennedy Jr., vaccine skeptic, who basically thinks for the majority of people, it's a bad idea to take the COVID-19 vaccine. But in certain instances, it's recommended for high-risk people to take it. So what does that mean? Well, without getting into scientific details that's above my pay grade, if the vaccine is so horrible for you, why would you recommend it to anybody? There is no answer because they don't have an answer. It's idiocy. It's idiocy. It saved a lot of lives. Any side effects for the vast majority of people have been minimal. Little soreness in the arm, little fatigue. Okay. Now, the vast majority of medical doctors do not agree with that opinion when it comes to the vaccine. They believe it either prevents the disease or more importantly, it reduces the symptoms, length of duration, and the long-term consequences of the disease. So, if you don't have the same position as Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they want you out. Trump has the same position. Even though that was one of his major achievements, I guess, is, Operation Warp Speed from his first presidency, where they got that vaccine out faster than any time in history. But that wasn't because of something spectacular the man did. It was because of previous research, development, and modernization and the technology that became available. But now they don't want the general public to have that. For some reason, if it's so bad for you, why do they recommend it for anybody? And that's the problem with their argument. It doesn't make any sense. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. doesn't make any sense. But again, that's a lot of Trump's MAGA base are anti-vaxxer people. They don't want people to have vaccines. They think they're causing all this harm. These are not scientists, these MAGA people. They're undereducated people. Okay? The vast majority of them, based on reporting from their own constituencies, say they have less than a sixth grade education. So these guys who have no knowledge, no training, who are literally uneducated, are coming to all these conclusions. They're just conspiracy theorists, but they don't follow the science. They just follow their feelings. So it doesn't make any sense. But that's why this CDC director, is now out. Next, the Fed governor. Donald Trump wants to control the money supply in this country, which is historically not anything the president can do. He wants interest rates lowered, but there's a chance of crazy inflation if you do that under the wrong conditions. And the Fed under Chairman Powell has resisted to lower the rates because they feel that there's so much inconsistency and uncertainty that it would not be appropriate at this time. Well, so they went digging into backgrounds, and they found that this current Fed governor, there was, I don't even know if you would call it a discrepancy, but something about on her mortgage applications, she listed 2 primary residences. Who knows what that's all about? But supposedly under the law, the only way you can fire one of these Fed governors is for poor job performance, not for some allegation. But this is what Trump was doing when he sent in Musk. They created these algorithms. They were data mining. They were mining for data all over the place. And against his perceived enemies, he is gathering data. This person, this is what they claim. They also claim this against Letitia James, the Attorney General of the state of New York, because she got that massive fraud judgment against Trump. And Senator Adam Schiff, who was an impeachment, involved in one of his impeachments back in the first term. And he just doesn't like the guy. So now they're going after this Fed governor so he can replace her, and she happens to be an African American too, replace her with somebody that will, as you see in the thumbnail, kiss the ring. That means toe the line. Whatever Trump wants, you go along with. You don't ever contradict him. That's why Congress is not doing their job, because they are kissing his ring. Okay. That's the second one. Now, various generals, admirals, people with lots and lots of experience in the military have been sacked. Why? Because Trump wants pure loyalists to him no matter what. He doesn't want to listen to any assessments other than the ones he's already made up before hearing anything. You know, if his intelligence people tell him one thing and he feels something else, he'll go with the something else. He is the ultimate denier of reality. Ultimate denier. He doesn't follow science. He's dumb as a box of rocks. He doesn't read anything because knowledge isn't what he does. He rolls off his gut, exactly like his base. That's why he said in multiple campaign appearances, I love the uneducated. Because the less educated you are, the less you're going to question his bullshit. That's what he does. That's who he is. So that's why he's firing these people. I mean, he's fired a ton of people, qualified people, Librarian of Congress, people who run the art centers. So what happens when you drain all this knowledge from the country in these leadership roles? Well, you have inexperienced people in these roles. The military has lots of people, but keep in mind, you don't become a general when you're 40 years old. You become a general after many, many years of experience, both in peacetime and wartime. When you start getting these people in these positions that are just ideologues, who follow whatever this guy says, who doesn't have the correct experience, what do you think is going to happen when they have to make plans, when they have to anticipate contingencies? What you're thinking is exactly right. They're going to blunder. They're going to blunder. They're going to blunder. Trump hires the worst of the worst because his test is not competence, it's ability to kiss his ring, and that means to follow whatever he wants. The tariff people, there's one idiot named Peter Navarro. This guy is dumb. Almost no economists agree with this guy. And this guy, Trump, is just living in the past. He loves coal. He loves petroleum products. He doesn't like any of the new technologies. He doesn't like anything that's new because he's a crusty old dope. That's what he is. He doesn't read anything. He doesn't evolve. He is a primary example of de-human evolution. De-evolution. That's what this man is. As he gets older and more experienced, he goes backwards. He gets dumber. His ideas are dumber. They're not better. The fact that he's done as much damage as he has in a short period of time seems incredible, but it's almost like it should be worse, but because we've had such a good economy. Now, am I saying that everything was perfect under the previous president? Of course not. That would be absurd. That would be totally absurd. Biden had problems, but they were different problems. But Biden, from my point of view, didn't do things intentionally to cause harm to the country, to try to raise prices on things. Eggs wasn't really Biden's causation. Eggs were mainly because the way the egg industry operates and how they operate their farms and how their chickens are so close together. And when the disease spreads, it spreads everywhere, and it wiped out flocks and flocks of these birds. Okay. Do I think that they've changed it? No. Maybe some individuals have changed, but the overall scheme of things is the same. So those things can happen over and over and over again. But by getting rid of all these people, it makes us less safe in the short term and less safe in the long term. And the overall health of America is going to decline. You will see under this administration, the mortality of human beings, of Americans, go down. The lifespan will decrease, not increase. Their idea of being healthy was, you use just beef tallow and you get rid of some dyes. Well, the driver of many of those problems are those stupid pesticides that are being used. Those are devastating because they're everywhere. But the money is too big. The donors are too big. They won't touch it. They're afraid to touch it. This is why most of the grains grown in the United States, the fruits and vegetables, are all laced with glyphosate, Roundup. This is why they are, because they won't take the courage to stop it. Can it be stopped overnight? Probably not. You may have to develop other products that are safer. But there are other alternatives out there that are better. And if they are widely used, just like with any other product, there's more of it being made, the cost comes down in both the short term and the long term. but that's not what they're doing. They pick a couple things. They call it "Make America Healthy Again." They're not making America healthy again. Have you seen some of these people at Trump rallies and events? Okay. It's a walking type 2 diabetes factory. These folks are eating horrible things, and they're going to eat worse things. Why? Because of a lot of the moves that this man is making, the price of the things that are healthier for us, i.e., meat and other things like that, are going up like crazy. Even vegetables, which I'm not a big fan of, but vegetables and fruits, prices are going up. And you keep removing the workers who pick these things, and they're going to even go higher and higher and higher. So they're not making America healthy again. They're making America less safe. Now it's becoming a national security issue because they ignore everything and they get rid of anybody that doesn't kiss the ring. And what I mean by kissing the ring is agree with Trump or just kind of keep your mouth shut. And whatever he wants done, you just do no matter what. So that's what we're dealing with. That's what I'm talking about in this video. Luckily, some of these people are fighting back. The Fed governor has a very good case. She just filed a lawsuit. I don't know anything about her personally, but there has to be a level of independence from the presidency. Donald Trump is trying his authoritarian control over everything. He can't stay out of Americans' business. This was not the old Republican Party. This is the new American Fascist Party. He doesn't like the Cracker Barrel logo, so he complains. Who the hell's business is it of his to tell a private company you can't change your logo? Look, is it a fantastic logo? But it's a private business. They're in business, Now, if their customers don't like it, are you going to Cracker Barrel because of the logo, or are you going for the food? Simple question. Answer: 99.999% will be going there because they like the food. Why do you care what the logo is? Oh, it's woke. This is just distractions. These are the biggest snowflakes in the world. They yell at the left as snowflakes. They're snowflakes. These people are sensitive to anything. Trump is the biggest. The man is tweeting, or whatever the hell you want to call it, at 2, 3 a.m. The man you saw the video yesterday. His health is terrible. There's no way in my mind the man's not dying. So there you go. That's what's going on with this guy. So does he really give a shit anymore? No, he doesn't care about anything. What is he? He just wants to line his pockets, and he thinks by doing all this crazy stuff, he's building a legacy. Yeah, he's building a legacy. It used to be George W. Bush was considered to be the dumbest president in modern history. Well, that is now not true because Donald Trump is way dumber. He does dumb things all the time. He's got people around him that have no business being in any leadership positions, but they're not those kind of people. They're just sycophants. They follow his lead. Did you see his cabinet meeting the other day? 3 hours with all these cabinet members kissing his butt, telling him how great he is, and this is absurd. This is something that you would see maybe in North Korea and Russia. But you know what? Maybe that North Korea is going to get some ideas and you know what? We want you to grovel like that. I like that. That's what dictators do, authoritarians do. And as far as him fixing crime, he's not doing anything. He's taking money away from normal programs that help with crime reaction and prevention. And he wants to substitute the National Guard and the military to do that job. They're not trained to do the job. They don't belong there. So He's firing everybody that does not kiss his butt, kiss his ring. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I know this one was a little bit long, but honestly, it could go on for hours. If I brought out a list of specific examples of all the people and all the damage this man has caused, it's unbelievable. So for his health, I'm sure his family is concerned, but you know what? Not me. The sooner he's out of office, regardless of whatever way it is, it's fine with me. Thank you so much for watching again. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We're trying to hit that 2,500 by the end of September. We'll see you in the next video.